This epic film achieves what it set out to do. Yes, it's not a smooth ride, there are flaws, but how do you want to look at it? Is the glass half empty or half full? Let's talk about it. Hello guys, I'm Nona Prince, and the most anticipated science fiction, futuristic, post-apocalyptic dystopian film, Indian film, is finally out. I have seen it by Nag Ashwin, and I had made a video saying that this film will change Indian cinema forever. And after watching it, I stick to that statement. First let's clear something out. This attempt is praiseworthy. What this film and the makers behind it try to do is something we all wanted, but we never got it. There have been some attempts in the past, but none of them were genuine enough. And we made fun of them. But now when they've hit the mark, should we not support them? Now that doesn't mean we run away from the criticisms. The film has its own issues. Some really big, some really small. And I will talk about that later in the video. But that should not also take us away from what we actually got to witness. We all got two options. First, hold on to all these issues and just complain about it, do unfair comparison with Hollywood and disregard this whole attempt. Or number two, be happy that at least it was attempted. It's not perfect, but at least the path has been laid. And out of these two, I choose the latter. It's really hard, to convey the feelings I had watching the film. Just witnessing all the thought that has been put behind this film. Our culture, our history on display. It's kind of a celebration. Mixing all of that into a modern and futuristic world. We finally have an epic universe, characters, whom we can call our own. That represents me, my world, my history, my culture. The pride you feel that when someone talks about DC or Marvel or Hollywood, even I can say I have my own universe from my culture, which is Kalki. Maybe this is what Black community felt watching Black Panther. I want to congratulate the whole team that your dream came alive and we all lived it. Now there'll be no spoilers in this video, but we'll do a whole spoiler-filled live session on the channel soon. Till that time, hopefully many of you have watched it. The biggest success of this film is that the hero of the world is not any character or actor. It is the world. It is the universe they're building. And it comes from all the detailing. The two animated episodes we got in Bujji and Bhairava series, that itself gave away that the makers have spent so much time working on it. Every small to small detail they have thought about. And we see the extension of that in the film. And one thing that many directors fall for is that they stop to show off their world, which is not always good. It's something James Cameron does a lot in Avatar films. He believes that he has created this new world and he wants to show it off to everyone. And because that film is so experiential, it works. But most of the times, if you stop the story to show off all these things, it just doesn't work and distract you from the main point. We see so many amazing distinct weapons, gadgets, vehicles, the detailed costumes, the whole production value is so amazing. But there is no enough time to take it all in, to consume it, because we have to rush through the plot, through the characters, through these different worlds within this universe. There's a lot to set up, and that's why it feels like the film is overstuffed. There's too many things happening. Maybe in the hindsight, the film could have been broken into two separate films. Maybe this could be an amazing series, a 10 episode long, but the fact is we got all of it as one film. Now because there's so much to set up, the film can feel boring, because the payoff only works when the setup is done really well. And the film needs to take time to do that. And I think for Nag Ashwin as a director and the writer, that's the game he has to play. The game of balance between science fiction, mythology and masala cinema. Because this film tries to do all of it because they want to cater to every audience. But sadly, it's not able to do justice to everything. And that can feel a letdown for many people. If you're going in expecting a full-on mass commercial film, this film is not that. It's first and for all a science fiction, dystopian, future, mythological film with a lot of masala elements. Thinking about how the screenplay has been written, it kind of reminded me of Sholay, because that's what this film was trying to do. Not in terms of the story, but in terms of the treatment. The movie Sholay can be broken down into multiple moments, and all these moments shine. All of them can be a single YouTube video, and you can just watch that part and you will have a blast. Just like that, in Kalki, we have serious moments, we have moments of world building, we have moments of comedy, we have moments of mythology, and there are many of these moments I loved. The way they were executed, the way they were shot, the way they were edited, the way they create a specific mood, be it a character introduction, be it a setup, be it a reveal. Some moments really stand out, but many don't. And the reason for that, which according to me is the biggest issue with the film, is the pacing. There's no seamless flow in the narrative because we're jumping between 4 different worlds, and all 4 of them have different tone, and mixing them up really becomes a mismatch. But even in one sequence where there's comedy with action, the pacing in that is also off. The editing there had to be better. It felt as if the scene is dragging. It's not ending. We should be done with it now and move on, but we are still here. And the thing is, all these sequences are there for a reason in the film. I totally totally get the intention behind them. They are there to establish the character, to explain you the motivation they have. But the execution of this sequence is not very efficient. If you want to convey 4 things about a character, it cannot be 4 different scenes. You have to find the efficient way how you can tell those 4 things within one scene. There were some moments which should have been epic, but because of the execution, the way it is shot, the way the dialogues happen between the characters, it's not ending up as epic. Something is getting lost on the paper to the screen. And talking about dialogues, I watched the film in Hindi as Telugu didn't have any subtitles. That also is an issue. And I think subtitles should be made compulsory. Talking about the Hindi dubbing, it was average to good. Like we have seen better Hindi dubbing. There is scope for improvement there. But one thing I didn't understand, the whole film felt overdubbed. Like every dialogue has been dubbed. Even with the Hindi actors, when they're saying the dialogue, I can see they are talking in Hindi, but the dialogue is not syncing really well. It feels like they have dubbed it over. And that is throughout the film. I don't know if that was a creative choice or something happened in the post that they had to do it. And the other technical thing that didn't really work was the sound mixing. It was just off. The music Santosh Nair has created is really good, but the way it's mixed in the film, the way the background music comes and goes, all of it just doesn't work. As I said before, there are different tones for each character. Each of them have their own themes, and the blend between them is just not working. Suddenly one theme comes in, abruptly some other theme starts. At so many points it's just silence and it feels awkward. You feel like there should have been music here, but it is removed. It feels like an error. And those things really affect the energy of the scene, which affects the pacing, which comes from the editing. And all of these are interconnected. These things, especially for me, broke the immersion of the film. And I feel the reason for all of it comes down to the one thing, which is time. The time they had to work on each thing. You could see which sequence more time was spent on which sequence they compromised. And the biggest example for that is VFX. There are some flawless VFX shots in this film, especially in that last hour. Like they were so good, you can compare that to any big budget Hollywood film. It will match it. But then there are some scenes where the VFX is quite obvious, and then some which it doesn't really look good. So the scenes they spend more time working on look the best, and the ones that didn't get that much time, they don't look that good. The director had made a remark that the ambition they were going for, they needed 3 times the budget they had. And now having seen the film, I totally agree with it. The things they pulled it off in this film, you really need 3, 6, 10 times budget, but they still pulled it off. But here budget is not the only limitation, it's also the inexperience. Like who in Indian cinema really has experience to pull a film like this off? It has never been done before, and you learn how to make such film by making it. And that's what they have done. It is similar to SS Rajamouli. If you look at Bahubali 1 and Bahubali 2, there's a drastic difference. And then come to RRR, which is a very different film, but it feels way more polished because he has learned over time how to make these big films. And I'm sure the team behind Kalki has learned a lot, and they will keep learning, making more such films. Now we all saw in the trailer that we'll get some glimpses from Mahabharat also in the film, and those sequences definitely gave me goosebumps every time. And it was a surprise to note that there are a lot of references and inside jokes in the film, which if you know about, you'll definitely chuckle. But that actually made me wonder that they want to go international with this film, but the amount of Mahabharat references the film has and all these inside jokes and cameos, it will not work for them. So I wonder if they had a different cut for international audiences, or maybe some extra explanation, because it is very much needed. Or maybe after watching this film, those audience want to know more about Mahabharat, and that makes them go and find more about it. Like how we try to find out more about Marvel and DC and their superheroes. Now it's their chance to find more about our culture. Talking about the cast in the film, I think everyone left an impact. It's fascinating that every character got a cool moment to shine. But coming to the main 4, it was a delight watching Amitabh Bachchan. He just, owned the role. Like this role was meant to be played by him. He carried that big 8-foot avatar with his screen presence. Deepika Padukone doesn't get many lines, but there's a lot of acting she has to do without saying much. Kamal Haasan totally delivers. Not much for him in this movie, but cannot wait to see what he brings next. And coming to Prabhas, I didn't know he has such good comic timing. He really enjoys and flexes his acting muscles in comedy scenes. And I think after Bahubali, this is the first time a director has used him really well. Now I've already booked tickets to go watch the film again with my family. And today actually when I came out of the theater after watching the film, I met someone I know and I told them go watch the film, made them book the tickets. Not because it's a perfect film, but because it's nothing less than an achievement what they have pulled off. You cannot really expect them to nail it in the first attempt, make it absolute the perfect film they can. That's not humanly possible. But what is possible is the future of this cinematic universe, because this dream is bigger than just a film, which I talked about in this video, that Kalki is not just a film or a franchise, it's much more than that. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below without spoilers. If you want to put spoilers and then write your comment. And soon we'll have a spoiler live discussion on the channel. Do subscribe to get that, and I will see you next time.